ACIM Resurrection, the True Meaning, Part 2. In this video, I'm going to talk more about ACIM's idea of the resurrection and why it is so profound. Hi, I'm Nikki from HereToWakeUp.com, and I help people stay accountable and connected to Divine Spirit on their awakening journey. I've been spiritually awakened for 15 years now, self-realized for 10, and I am here to help and to be of service to kind-hearted souls that are ready to progress. So if that's you, welcome to my channel, The Healthy Wealthy Recluse. Welcome back to my channel if you've been here before. Make yourself at home. And I also want to say thank you so much to my new subscribers. I really appreciate you. On this channel, I make videos about spiritual wealth, healing, and relationships. So if you find that you like it here, let me know in the comments and consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. Even dislikes help the channel. So thank you so much for watching all of this video. Okay, so ACIM Resurrection, Part 2. So in the first video, I quoted a line from the text published by the Foundation for Inner Peace about the resurrection. And the quote was from chapter 11, section 6, line 6 of the first paragraph. And it says, "The resurrection is the complete triumph of Christ over the ego, not by attack, but by transcendence." Okay? And the reason why this quote is so deep is because it addresses the ego and not just physical death. So why does addressing the ego make it deep? Well, it's because of what the ego is and what it represents. So like I mentioned in part 1, if you're unfamiliar with the Course, you might not realize that the ego the Course refers to isn't exactly the traditional psychological ego that you might think of when you hear that word. It's deeper than that. And like I also mentioned in part 1, if you want to know more about the ego as it's talked about in A Course in Miracles, you can check out my video, The Insecure Ego, which is about being emotionally volatile. And there's a link on the screen right now if you want to click and watch it. Just make sure you come back and finish watching this one when you're done, or you can search for the video on my channel, whenever you feel like it. But right now, just to tell you a bit about it, very basically, without going into detail, the ego is just a thought or a concept. And it also represents and symbolizes a group of thoughts. And basically, death is just one of those thoughts. Okay, so death is an ego thought, it's an ego concept, and it's just one of many. Not only that, it comes in many different forms, as the Course tells us in the workbook. In lesson 163, in part 1, line 2 of the first paragraph, it talks about death and says, it may appear as sadness, fear, anxiety or doubt, as anger, faithlessness, and lack of trust, concern for bodies, envy, and that's just some of the quote. And so to me, going back to the resurrection quote, the Course is saying that Christ overcomes not just physical death, but all of the other different forms that death seems to come in as well. Non-physical deaths, emotional deaths, so to speak, due to emotional injuries. And when I was thinking about this earlier, it made me think of the amazing and brilliant soul, Dr. Maya Angelou, may she rest in peace. And for those who may be unaware, she was a successful writer, dancer, singer, activist, polyglot. She was inspirational to many, including myself. Some of her books were very helpful to me on my journey. Oprah referred to her as the wisdom keeper. You can find out more about her if you're interested, but I just remember her talking about how, some people are cowards and they really want to kill you. They want to take you out, but they don't have the courage to just come right out and do it. So they just kind of nip at you and take little shots whenever they think they can, like when they think you won't notice, to just try and kind of cut you down, break you down, degrade you until you crumble. You know, it's that nice, nasty, passive aggressive nonsense that some people enjoy engaging in, and I'm not talking about people who do that, out of a defense mechanism because they're just immature and, they really don't know any better. I'm talking about the people who deliberately do it and they have malicious intent. So, as I was thinking about this topic and looking at this quote in the workbook about the different forms of death, it made me think of what she was saying, these emotional injuries that she was talking about. These are some of the things that can really damage someone's soul if they're not prayed up and don't know who they are spiritually and they're not strong within themselves. Like, it could really be a problem. It's like I was talking about in part 1, in the first video, when I was talking about the general definition of resurrection. And I was using the example of how qualities and characteristics that we may have once had when we were younger or in a different stage in life, sometimes they seem to go away, and they have the potential to be resurrected, at another point. Well, usually these qualities and these characteristics that we have, they go away because they get shut down or repressed, or they quote unquote die, inside of us because of these emotional injuries. We've all heard, the saying, so and so died inside that day, or they died a little bit inside because of what, so and so did, or, because such and such happened, something like that. So it's these types of things that Christ overcomes as well, these non-physical emotional deaths from emotional injuries and traumatic events. It's not just about physical death. There's more to it. And then to go even deeper, when we recognize that the ego, as it's talked about in A Course in Miracles, is the error that's basically responsible for this holographic projection, this holographic universe, this linear time and space, and all of the backstories and storylines and perspectives contained within it. When we realize that the ego is behind duality, negativity, and positivity, both, then we can really see how profound the resurrection quote really is, because it's basically saying that Christ overcomes everything. Everything that the ego is about, everything it represents, everything it stands for, including physical form itself. To me, that is huge, because now it's not just about overcoming a physical life or incarnation that seemingly took place at a certain period of time. Now it's about overcoming time, linear time, physical form, all of it. Yeshua overcomes everything that we seemingly learned about what this universe is about, and he shows the unreality of it. And to me, that's why it says the resurrection is the complete triumph. The complete triumph, because it really is an all-encompassing completion. Yeshua finishes the game. He finishes it completely. And that's why in the Bible, he is quoted as saying, "It is finished." He fulfilled the storyline as it was meant to unfold, and he really overcame the entire facade, So to me, that's why this quote is so deep and so wise. And that's only the first half of the quote. there's still like the whole end part of it that I want to address as well. So in the next video, which will be the third and final part, I'll address the second half of this quote and also why it's so important to know the true meaning of the resurrection, to know that it's more than just a physical thing. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I really appreciate your time and your attention because you could literally be doing anything else right now. So I really appreciate that. Remember to love yourself because that's the real wealth. Take care.